Alabama. Boy, we're starting out strong here, aren't we? I'm going to go ahead and lay down a blanket statement here. If your flag is most likely inspired by the Confederate flag, you're already getting a failing grade, because I'm not a fan of losers who can't let an embarrassing defeat go. And even without that qualifier, Alabama's going to get a real big see me after class written on this half-assed homework assignment, because it's pretty evident the violently alcoholic stepdad Alabama has to deal with at home is what caused them to turn in this unfortunately unfinished piece of shit. And knowing enough about Alabama itself, I'll bet the lack of effort was intentional, and they're proud of it for some reason. Alaska. Alaska is so smart, they think a celestial body 323 light years away from Earth represents them. It doesn't even make sense from a perspective debate, since the majority of America can see this thing at all times. This flag was originally designed by a 14-year-old Native Alaskan orphan in 1927, and now I'm even more convinced children are dumb as fuck. The flag is definitely good at making me think to never trust Alaska again. After all, if we remove most of the dipper's bowl, shift the stars around, and change the colors a bit, well, would you look at what we fucking got here. Nice try, Xi Jinping, but if I said it once, I'll say it again. China cannot legally own the constellations, so stop trying. Arizona. The star in this flag looks like it either just proudly announced to the world that it's gay, or it's charging up a spirit bomb. The copper color of the star is supposed to represent that Arizona is the largest copper producer in all the United States, but to me it more accurately summarizes that the best the citizens of Arizona can ever hope for is third place. Arkansas. Arkansas is already playing to the average intelligence level of its citizens by reminding them what state they live in by putting it blatantly right on the middle of the flag. The history of this flag speaks volumes. Here's the original flag from 1912, which is totally fine, albeit a bit too much of a secret celebration of baseball for my taste. But in less than a year, Arkansas immediately remembered that most people just assume Arkansas is someone misreading a typo of the word Kansas. So they desperately crammed their name in the middle here to help from being forgotten. 10 years later, they saw how awkward the design is, so they decided to make it even more awkward. But look, they added an extra star. How nice. That's the perfect starting point for them to royally fuck it all up even further just another year later. The rock-eating population of Little Rock probably took offense to this bold new use of colors that exude joy and excitement, so in 2011 they introduced a new act that reverted the flag back to its soul-crushing original colors. California. It's pretty good and iconic, I can't lie. Who knew a state that can't design a viable solution to its homeless problem, can't design a functioning highway system, and can't design a constructive argument for why growing almonds in a desert climate is a stupid fucking idea, could design a pretty good flag? To be fair, broken clocks are right twice a day, except California's, which in this case has only ever been right once. Colorado. This doesn't say state flag to me. This says logo for a public transportation company. Colorado's flag probably secretly belongs to a Denver bus line that recently had to apologize for achieving a national high score in accidental roadside fatalities. There's this weird feeling of genuine patriotism mixed with corporate sugarcoating on display here, which is a great parallel to the pseudo-heated opinions on important issues most Colorado people have. Whoa. I'm from Colorado, and let me tell you guys, this issue I'm talking about that's being brought up to the city council meeting is the most important and possibly detrimental thing we have ever seen to this state. We all need to go to the courthouse and make sure to show our support against that bill. Oh, what? That means I have to wake up before 10 a.m.? Never mind, fuck it. Connecticut. Qui transtulit sustinet is Latin for he who transplanted sustains, which is a terrible slogan, Connecticut, because while you think it's a triumphant way to say the original settlers who came here from England were able to flourish in your state, it also means anyone who successfully moves out of Connecticut will have an even better life after doing so. Beyond that, let's just say what we're all thinking together. This flag is an ugly piece of shit. I love that the grapevine drawings here are supposed to have a symmetrical design, but you guys were too lazy to draw a third design, so you just copy this one and put it here, ruining the whole symmetry. That's a really good choice for if you want to save 5 or so minutes of work. You can at least take solace in the fact that no one's ever going to see this ugly fucking flag, since not even this could help anyone remember that Connecticut even exists. Delaware. Oh, god damn it. I just got done calling Connecticut's flag ugly, and I really hate repeating myself in the script, but what the fuck, dick-loving Christ, is this clip art disaster? Look, Delaware knows their only claim to fame is being the first state to ratify the Constitution. They're gonna slap that date on absolutely everything. So you don't happen to forget this trivia fact for the fucking 5 minutes you drive through Delaware. Also, bold move to put your main exports of cows, dildos, and muffins right here on the shield. But the old-timey ship at the top lets us know that you haven't done jack shit with your time since way back in the Pilgrim Age. Florida. Florida just doesn't know when to stop embarrassing itself, huh? Florida's such a lazy state infested with swamp-rotted brains that they copied Alabama's homework for this assignment and then slapped the wonky state seal over the middle hoping we wouldn't notice. It's actually under historical debate whether or not Florida's flag is a holdover from the Confederacy, but not to worry, we can still bull ride Florida and tear it apart for this god-awful state seal. It's of course garish to look at, but Florida recently updated the seal back in 1985 to make it align more with things people associate with Florida. Funnily enough, they kept the steamboat on there, implying that as recently as the 80s, Floridians were cruising around in the Everglades in their old-timey steamboats, which I would totally believe because this is Florida, where anything perplexingly stupid can happen. Georgia. Vexillology is the study of flags, and the North American Vexillological Association is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a club made of a bunch of red-blooded Americans fascinated with flags to the point of dedicating their free time to studying them. In 2001, this association ran an open poll asking North Americans to rank not only all 50 American state flags, but the flags of the U.S. territories and all Canadian provinces as well. This means there were a total of 72 flag choices to organize based on preference. Georgia's flag ranked dead last by a significant margin. Because they didn't rate this one. They rated the one that was around back in 2001, which looked like this. Oh my fucking god. What in the unholy fuck is that? Why would you put not one, not two, but 5 separate flags inside your flag? Why the fuck does Georgia value Wisjustice Modern above all else? Not only is there a fully realized Confederate flag down there, but it's even part of a second flag. And speaking of which, is that the main flag design in the flag? The question isn't where to start on this monstrosity, it's where to end. Because I very well probably could have filled this entire video with insults about this eye-watering piece of shit. But I need to call it. Hawaii. This is Hawaii? Apparently it is. King Kamehameha I, after defeating King Piccolo, used to use the British flag as the official Hawaiian flag to celebrate his friendship with King George III. However, during the War of 1812, things got a little fucky-wucky, as they always tend to do during a war. So to appease both sides, Kamehameha designed this flag to resemble both sides, with the Union Jack planted in the corner and the stripes being pulled from the American flag. Except I spy, with my motherfucking eye, some blue ignore my green screen, my blue stripes in this flag, Mr. Kamehameha, which the American flag does not have. Which means this flag is a colossal fucking failure. And as of this video, I formally declare the continental United States to be at war with Hawaii due to their wayward English support during the War of 1812. If you live in the continental United States, be sure to tell a Hawaiian to go fuck themselves, because they deserve it. And I don't know, Alaska, you can watch or something. Don't worry about it. Alaska doesn't even have the internet yet anyway. Idaho. Idaho, why the fuck are you so bumblingly stupid that you need to put State of Idaho on the flag twice? If your citizens already can't read, putting the name there twice isn't going to change anything. Fun fact, this is the only state seal drawn by a woman. And of course, leave it to a woman to do something that's totally cool and should make everyone proud. My female analytics are in the toilet, so help me out here, ladies, please. Illinois. Sometimes I get really concerned that someone's playing a prank on me. This has to be a high schooler's submission for a flag designing contest, right? Okay, that's a little harsh. It's probably a middle schooler's submission because high schoolers at least have some concept of not making something that looks like shit. Maybe the next time you decide to snort a bunch of Xanax and make a collage out of clip art, try not to turn it in as the official state flag. Indiana. Holy shit, it's time for the Olympics, which is exactly what any and all people who see this flag will be thinking. This flag doesn't remind me of a state that was almost exclusively governed by the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s, but instead gives me an urge to try to change the channel before I'm forced to watch someone try to convince me that curling isn't just advanced shuffleboard. Iowa. Well, according to this flag, the state of Iowa was initially founded by a World War II airborne division. Ignoring the fact that the base template is the French flag, which should make any American military officer hang his head in shame, but the layout of the text tells me that the Screamin' Eagles didn't give much of a shit for appealing formatting and instead opted to create a new verse of the Pledge of Allegiance through brute force. Kansas. Ad astra per aspera is Latin for Kansas really loves throwing this fucking slogan onto everything, huh? You see one over-designed state seal and you've seen them all. The difference for Kansas is that they intentionally designed their seal to capture the history of Kansas. Funny how they totally forgot to include radical bigotry against all sorts of cultural, political, and religious groups. Oh wait, that's not historical, that's still happening. Kentucky. And fixed! Louisiana. For about 100 years, the Louisiana flag looked like this. But about a decade ago, a Louisiana 8th grader noticed that the mother pelican was missing the 3 drops of blood on her chest, so they added it back. The 3 drops of blood are a Christian symbol from way back in the 3rd century when Christian texts described the belief that the mother pelicans would kill their young as they grew older and then lament for 3 days until finally puncturing their own breast with their beak and reviving their children with their blood. So Louisiana, I have just one question. What the fuck? Maine. You'd normally think I was gonna shit on this design for being another bland, boring, uninspired use of the state seal. But looking at the actual art for this seal, I can say with confidence that I like it. Because I happen to have read this particular part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and it was pretty good. Maryland. I want to tell you all a story. A long time ago, in a quaint little state just like Maryland, there lived a group of people. This group of people were all very diverse, with different skin colors, different beliefs, different hobbies, and enough differences to make each and every one of them unique. But they all happened to have one very simple thing in common. They loved drinking diarrhea. They'd drink diarrhea when they woke up in the morning. They'd chow down on some diarrhea with every meal, and they'd chug a cool glass of diarrhea just before bed every night. Their love for diarrhea was no secret either. They all proudly discussed with each other their favorite flavors of diarrhea, plastered pro-diarrhea propaganda along their street corners, and tried to include diarrhea in nearly every aspect of their lives. One day, a traveler arrived to this quiet little town, and was mortified by what he saw. "My goodness, that's disgusting," he cried, as he saw that each and every member of this community enjoyed drinking diarrhea all day and all night. Try as he might, the traveler couldn't convince the townsfolk that perhaps it wasn't the best idea to drink liquefied feces all day and all night. He couldn't persuade them to consider that there was a whole litany of other, more pleasant things to drink, and plenty of other hobbies and pastimes to immerse yourself in. And try as he may, the only answer the townsfolk would ever respond back with was this: "We all love diarrhea. Therefore, it must be the best option." You've probably figured this out by now, Maryland, but I'm talking about your state flag. There's a literal cult around this state flag, and despite how garish, mishmashed, and downright ugly it is, people absolutely love it. Remember that all-important flag survey from earlier? The Maryland flag finished 4th. People cannot get enough of this intentional eyesore, and you know what? I think I get it. I'm a fan of movies that are so bad they're good. I love songs that in terms of songwriting are absolute trash, and I've eaten at Burger King before. I get what it's like to enjoy something that isn't conventionally attractive. Oh, hey, that's why I have sex with your mom, too. The point is, while the Maryland flag is nauseating, overly designed, gaudy, vulgar, hideous, alarming, threatening, unsightly, unseemly, unappealing, and bad, it's grown on me, and I can see why you're so up your own ass about it. How about we'd agree that the reason Maryland's state flag is so great is because it's not. Massachusetts. Do you really think I'm gonna give a fuck about your recycled state seal-based design after what Maryland just put me through? The Latin translates to, "By the sword we seek peace, but peace only under liberty." In other words, if you don't give us peace and freedom, we'll fucking kill you and remove your right to exist. Shut the fuck up, Massachusetts, you paradoxical asshole. You had the hard task of following Maryland, and boy did you fail. Michigan. The elk and moose on the flag of Michigan come from the Hudson Bay Company's coat of arms. Hudson Bay Company is a fur trading company from the 17th century. Key note in that sentence is the word is, because they're still around as a retail store owner and holdings company, which means for the last 111 years that Michigan has been using this flag, they've been giving free advertising. And that means I have to award them a 0 out of 10, because I know for a fact they haven't been paid for it. Minnesota. Initially, when I first saw this one, I thought it was a spaghetti plate that someone vomited on. And that statement right there is enough for me to assign this one a failing grade. Mississippi. I'm not too huge on the whole "in God we trust" thing since we're a country without an official state religion, but other than that, I quite like it. And I was this close to assigning them a really good score, except this flag was only put into place in 2021, which means it took them over 100 years to replace the old state flag, which looked like this. Oops, Mississippi's last again. Missouri. Oh no, the Netherlands are invading, and they brought with them another shitty fucking state seal. Salus Populi Suprema Lex Esto translates to, "The health of the people should be supreme law." Is that why you currently have a major opioid crisis going on, Missouri? Montana. Fuck me, I'm so bored. In 1985, Montana even specified the font that has to be used on all the state flags. You want to know what interesting and inspiring font they chose? Helvetica Bold. This is like the vanilla ice cream of state flags, except when I partake in vanilla ice cream, I feel happy and not just a sense of dread. Nebraska. What the fuck? Why does the train have no tracks? Is it just me, or is equality before the law a call to incite violence? What the fuck is even this thing? Why is the steamboat so incredibly tiny if you factor for perspective? Who uses an anvil out in the middle of the snow? Congratulations, Nebraska. This is easily the worst one. At least Georgia got their shit together and made an attempt to change the flag into something new, and at least we all know what's wrong with Mississippi. This piss stain of an idea of a flag is still in use today, and is probably the worst one I've ever seen. I wish every year all the states got together to give each other medals for cool things they did that year, and when Nebraska showed up, everyone just gave them a wedgie and kicked their ass while their poo-poo stained underwear blinded them into stumbling around like a drunk uncle. Fuck you, Nebraska. Fuck you for making me even look at this. Nevada. There's a trend that you guys have probably noticed by now I'm going to call attention to. 29 of the 50 state flags have a blue background. Nevada decided to go all in on that fact and make 75% of their flag a blue background, which is fine. If you really want to keep things minimal and aesthetically pleasing, it's fine. This flag really isn't that bad. But isn't it kind of sad that this is easily in the top 10 because all the others are such dog shit? Congrats, Nevada! You're gonna win a prize not based on your own merit, but because everyone else in this competition got food poisoning the night before and decided to come in with their C- material. New Hampshire. Well, at least the seal's appealing to look at. The flag still sucks. New Jersey. Horsehead. They couldn't even afford a whole horse. New Mexico. That is such a good flag. This is a downright spectacular flag. Not only does the color scheme appropriately evoke the desert landscape, but this symbol represents the sun for the Zia people of New Mexico. The Zia sun has a lot of sacred meaning to it. 4 is an important number in their culture. There's 4 sets of lines in this design, representing the 4 directions, 4 times of day, 4 stages of life, and 4 seasons. The circle in the middle is said to bind all of the concepts together. This flag is gorgeous because it understands one very simple, effective, and powerful design concept: subtlety. We don't need a giant overbearing design to spell out each and every piece of symbolism to us. If you happen to know what the design stands for, then there's that much more for you to appreciate. But if you don't, you get to ask the question of, why this symbol? What does it all mean? Instead of being bombarded by explicit, boring garbage everywhere you dart your eyes. This flag handily was placed number 1 on that big Flag Association survey that I keep bringing up, and I am not surprised in the slightest. Some of you out there are probably going to get a little pissy at me for awarding Best in Show to such a simple flag, but when the competition's been this bad, I can't give this first prize fast enough. That just put me in great spirits. I dare say I'm even more excited now to see the next one than I was this whole video. Let's keep this momentum going. Come on! New York. When I began this video, I had so much optimism. I really did. I thought there'd be a whole bunch of varied, interesting concepts of state flags, but to my design, about 80% of the United States of America are the most boring, bland motherfuckers when it comes to representing state pride in flag form. How hard is it to come up with a design that represents your state beyond the same exact symbols that every state used in the late 1800s? The excuse for most states here is, well, most of these state seals and coat of arms were made during the 1800s. Then stop using those fucking state seals and coat of arms, you decrepit octogenarians. Look, you can keep the state seal what it is, and you can keep the coat of arms, because they're traditional. But what's the point of designing a flag if it's just a copy of a design we already have on a blue fucking background? It's a waste of time and resources. It inspires no state pride whatsoever. And considering you really only see state flags out in the wild these days compared to state seals and coat of arms, it's something you'd think you'd want to update now and then to better represent your state instead of representing, I don't know, what the fact that we used to fucking drive steamboats everywhere. I'm fucking sick of steamboats. I'm sick of looking at this worthless flag before I even have to dissect it, but let's do it anyway. The guidelines for this coat of arms say that this is a Frisian cap on a staff, but we all know it's just a condom on a stick. Why is the eagle conquering the world? That'd be far more appropriate for the American flag, not the New York one. And finally, Stan Lee died back in 2018, guys. It's time to move on. North Carolina. I've got a bold idea for a flag. Texas, but shittier. I already made a joke that Florida copied Alabama, and I'm not even going to give you guys credit for being original in the plagiarism department. North Dakota. Normally I'd be offended by such laziness. You guys didn't even design a flag. You just looked at the back of the quarter and said, hey, cross out the words $quarter and put North Dakota. No one will ever know. And let me tell you something. The only time I want to be disappointed in a quarterback is when I go to my local dog shelter with Michael Vick. Ohio. Spectacular, and I'll tell you why. Because even though every human outside of Ohio has already stopped giving a shit about it, no one will forget this flag exists after they see it. See, it's not that hard, other states. Take the American flag, shuffle around the symbols, cut off the ends, and boom, you have a solid state flag. Yeah, your design isn't exactly interesting or unique or representative of Ohio in any way, but it's a non-rectangular shape. Oh boy. And in this competition that's starting to become about making your state look as uninteresting as possible, Ohio at least attempted to be different. Oklahoma is pretty good. The shield and calumet here are symbols of the Native Americans in that region, and the olive branch symbolizes peace when we all unify together. Initially, I thought the whole thing was just a symbol for how much they love smoking weed, but then I remembered, one, I'm probably a bit racist, and two, Oklahoma is far too poor to ever afford any. Oregon. Visual diarrhea. Pennsylvania. I almost don't hate this one because the crest design with the horses is actually pretty good looking. But then I looked at the inside and saw that it's all the same fucking monochrome symbols like farm tools, crops, colonial ships, and I'm just so tired of it all. Just be glad you didn't put a steamboat in there, because then the Pennsylvania governor would be receiving something very unpleasant in his mailbox tomorrow. I'd put some dog poop in there. What did you think I was going to do? FBI agent secretly assigned to monitor my YouTube channel. Rhode Island. I fucking love this one. Yeah, it's based on the state seal, but they did something fucking mind-boggling. They made an actual design out of it, instead of just sloppily pounding it in there like your mother's butthole when I run out of Astroglide. This flag has given me the hope that I need that the rest of the entries in this series will pick up the slack for the first group and inspire me to consider my next vacation plans very carefully. Thank you, Rhode Island, for hyping me up for this next flag. There is no way it could disappoint me. I almost wish this one was last, so it could have the same poetic impact that Wyoming did in the previous video. This is a gorgeous flag. You've done good, South Carolina. You've done good. South Dakota. Okay, everyone point and laugh at South Dakota for fucking it all up. You really gonna put you're the Mount Rushmore state on your flag, which, by the way, is the only thing anyone will ever know you for. And yeah, you're not gonna fucking have Mount Rushmore on the flag anywhere? Are you insane? Tennessee. There we go. There we go. This is a good one. At first, I kind of hated the little weird stripe on the end there, but then I realized that the blue stripe is the part fluttering the most in the wind, opposite of the flagpole, which gives this design a great use of movement and energy with just color work. I have nothing to roast here, Tennessee. I mean, the iconography and the colors are lifted straight from the American flag, but I'm just proud they pulled their collective brain cell together to get it together long enough to make a flag that isn't complete shit. Texas. Okay, now we're taking the American flag reductionism to a little bit of an extreme. This flag looks like it's the American flag's sidekick, or its little brother that it hopes to grow up to be one day. And the funny thing is, that's exactly what I think of when I think of Texas. This is a great flag, regardless of the blatant American dick ridery. Just be careful to not become Chile, since then you'll be caricatured into a gun-toting yeehaw viewpoint which would force you to publicly lynch the entire state if that ever happened. Utah. Utah, I'm just gonna say it. You may be excellent at road signs, but you genuinely suck at making flags. You suck at it so hard, I'm not showing the flag yet for emphasis. Utah is in this weird stasis where they started out strong and they could potentially wind up with a great flag today if new legislation passes. But every other flag they've had along the way is an absolute abomination. Here's the flag from before Utah was a state as a starting point. And this flag pretty much kicks ass. Probably cost them like $400 US to make a single flag back in the late 1800s, thanks to how complex this thing is. But it's a lovely picture. And here's the flag Utah designed to commemorate their 125 years of statehood. Currently, they're trying to pass a law to make this the official state flag. It also is a great flag in general. It's got a stylized iconography that represents the state, and it's a really appealing look. Now let's flush all that goodwill down the toilet and look at whatever the fuck this is. Welcome to Utah's flag for the last 100 years, featuring the vomit-inducing Utah State Crest. This flag surgically takes the charm out of the original home-style beehive designs and anally eviscerates them by plastering a dickload of generic patriotic junk on top. Not just one, but two dates, and you don't even get a total understanding of the second one for some goddamn reason. Good job writing industry on there instead of, oh, I don't know, coming up with literally any kind of visual metaphor to represent that concept. Because that's what a fucking flag is for. But I'm not being fair. I'm cheating a little bit here, and I'm sure every citizen of Utah watching this video is yelling at the top of their lungs so I can hear them through the gas mask that they're forced to wear so they can breathe outside. This flag was actually retired back in 2011. Here's the current flag. Jesus fucking Christ. Vermont. Deer head. Oh, they could afford the whole deer. There's just not enough people around to warrant buying one. Virginia. I appreciate the liberal use of flashing a little titty, but the only thing this flag is arousing in me is a violent urge to throttle whoever likes seeing nothing but state seals everywhere you go. Points for depicting your favorite scene from a Shakespeare play instead of another fucking buffalo or bundle of wheat, but I in good consciousness can't give any points to a flag that's this cool by circumstance instead of intentional design. If you take a blue background and slap your state seal on it, I'm gonna slap my nuts in your mouth, no matter how cool your seal is. No exceptions. Washington. Yeah, that's Washington, all right. And the background's green this time. And it's also a state seal. So 0 points. Suck my nuts, Washington. West Virginia. I think everyone's gonna agree with me when I say I think it's about time you guys finally dissolved and crawled back into Virginia's gooch. Wisconsin. I just want to make this clear. You're not promoting or successfully boasting about yourself in any possible fashion with these symbols if they're the symbols that everyone else uses. This plow no longer means jack shit to me in my mind because after the 37th state flag to show me one, I'm just going to assume, oh, I don't know, we've got farming in America. Wow. At least Wisconsin attempts a bold move by trying to claim Thanksgiving and a scam carnival game for themselves, but honestly, you guys can have them. You need something to make yourself feel better after one too many pints at your local microbrewery down the street from the other microbrewery that's just a 10-minute Uber ride away from your friend's house where you usually enjoy a cold one. Wyoming. Don't let me down, Wyoming. You blew me away before with your incredible welcome sign. You guys have to have a really great state flag. Let's see it. Well, hang on, better,